fleets you're about to meet may all be champs for me, but only two of them are going to leave title belts. So, are we ready to rumble? Welcome to the Overdrive Radio podcast edition for November 10th, 2023 in the podcast feed and hitting the world-famous overdriveonline.com November 13th, Veterans Day, with a special spotlight of sorts today on what a wild and woolly year it's been for everyone in some way, no less for Overdrive's 2023 Small Fleet Champs. I'm Todd Dills, and as I noted up at the top of our last podcast, last week at the National Association of Small Trucking Companies annual conference, we recognized 4 finalists as well as several other past semi-finalists, finalists, and champs in attendance at the event. I also took the opportunity to sit down with this year's 4 contenders just ahead of the Thursday night dinner and presentation of the 2 category awards in the final round, with a particular topic of discussion in mind.
A challenge that you've been presented with this year. Whatever it is. Or not just the biggest. The biggest challenge you've been presented with this year, and how you are working to address it, whether you've succeeded in that regard or not.
I hate to even talk about them because they might get worse.
Yeah, there was no shortage of good humor among all on hand, that's sure, in spite of big freight and rates challenges amid ongoing slowdowns for some of the fleets, amid recruiting challenges for others, insurance increases, equipment costs reckoning post-COVID as truck values have fallen precipitously relative to premium prices paid at the height of the pandemic boom period. On the other side of a break for a word from Overdrive Radio's sponsor, House, we'll sit in on this conversation with 4 exceptional small fleet owners. Well, 3 really from the side of the Nastic show. The 4th?
This is Adam Johnson here with K&D Transport. We're out of Spring Valley, Wisconsin.
You'll hear in a bit of a different audio recording setup. K&D Transport's Adam Johnson had one of those nightmare air travel days getting to Nashville last week, Thursday. He couldn't join the rest of us in the moment ahead of the event that night, making it to the Nastic conference just in time for the evening's presentation, not much else. Our conversation about K&D's biggest challenges this year was conducted early this week, over the phone. Here he is again.
This is Adam Johnson here.
That's what his audio sounds like, FYI. And for comparison, meet the rest of this year's Small Fleet Champs.
Larry Lamp, L&L Trucking, Bedford, Indiana.
Larry Wallace, Wallace Son Transport, herein, Virginia.
Bill Barhite with Butterfly Express.
Okay, here we go.
Stop fuel from gelling this winter with Howe's Diesel Treat, North America's #1 trusted anti-gel. Right now, you need Howe's Diesel Treat more than ever, not only to keep you gel-free, but to fight the shortcomings of today's ULSD by adding vital lubricity, removing water, and preventing deposits. The only guaranteed anti-gel on the market, Diesel Treat also boosts fuel economy and improves performance. This winter, do yourself a favor and add Howe's Diesel Treat at every fill-up. Visit HowesProducts.com for more information.
You can find much more about Howe's Diesel Treat at the website. Again, that's HOWES, HowesProducts.com. International, all the way from the headquarters in Bedford, Indiana. L&L Trucking owner Larry Lamp, who's joined here today. Larry Lamp has been trucking since 1981, starting out hauling grain locally in Indiana and going over the road in 1983. He bought his first truck in 1984 and has remained owner-operator almost continually since. In 2001, Larry filed for his authority, and he's been operating as L&L Trucking out of Bedford ever since, with a mind-pennies philosophy around cost control that has served him well through periods of growth. His liquid tanker business now sits at 12 trucks and employs his many drivers in addition to himself, moving animal fats and other commodities from 4 direct shippers and smoothbore rear unload trailers. We spoke recently to one of those customers, an insecticide producer headquartered in Michigan, who called L&L Trucking a real problem solver in recent times. A series of service issues from other carriers moving a particular product from the St. Louis area risked shutting their plant down numerous times. L&L now delivers that product a few times a week. The reliability has moved the issue well down the line from number 1 on the company's list. What's more, this rep called L&L overall his number 1 carrier, lauding owner Larry Lip's old school approach to business relationships as refreshing, the rare breed in his experience. A little bit of a fun fact about Larry. In 2002, he served as chairman of the Indiana Motor Truck Association's board, and he stresses the importance of being active in the trucking association's law strike like NASA. Here's how you do it. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. L&L Trucking.
We've had some many difficulties this year. We started off like a ball of fire. Everything was great. The second quarter was a bloodletting. The third quarter has been a bloodletting. Fourth quarter doesn't look much better. Trying to find resources for 2023 hasn't produced anything. People want to talk about maybe what they might have to do in 2024.
Right. Speaking in
it's
terms of just the freight thing.
Just freight,
Freight
yeah.
and ability to move.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just been an ugly year. The first quarter was fantastic, but
Okay.
ever since then it's been hold on.
Everything's been slowing down.
That's a ledge that you're standing on. It's about to crumble, and so far we've been able to, not cut corners, but find places where we could save money.
Okay.
To
Such as?
it's every place that we found that we could save a few pennies has been. I think it's going to pile up on us and come and bite us on the tail because we're extending service periods a little bit longer, which is I never have thought was a good idea, but desperate times require some desperate moves.
Okay. How long are you extending?
We're already on 30,000 mile oil changes, so we've moved on out to about 35,000 as a general rule. We're running tires maybe another 30 seconds or 30 seconds longer than what we used to. Differential transmission, gear lubes, that sort of stuff. We're putting them off a little bit further.
Okay.
A little bit longer time between bearing adjustments. Okay. Just trying to hope that it doesn't bite us at the end.
Right.
But to have money to operate on right now, just holding off a little bit on some things.
Yeah, it's funny, with these stories that an evaluation I do with all you guys, I call it customers and stuff. But pretty much everybody that I talk to was like, they're great. But then we talk to them a little longer, and they're like, oh yeah, it's really everything's slowed down.
Yeah.
Their businesses are slower.
Yeah, we went from averaging probably 55,000, 60,000 gross revenue a week to the month of October we averaged 15.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the bills are still, at the prior.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is. It is. Deal that went into a 3-week shutdown.
Okay.
For plant maintenance and inventory reduction. Okay. And they shut down at the same time UAW shut down. And the product we haul goes into a lot of cutting oils and gear lubes and that sort of stuff. So
that really slows you down.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see.
And so it just I think UAW has started back to work now, or agreed to the contract. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that was the news recently. Except
so
for
maybe some of that stuff will start picking back up now.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see just a little bit uptick right now. But at the time that it starts to uptick, then we've got Thanksgiving that's going to come in there and mess up a week, and then 3 weeks later we'll have Christmas to mess up a week, and New Year's and.
This year has just been a bloodbath. Oh my goodness. It's been crazy. But I had learned some lessons from COVID. When COVID happened and they shut everything down and vans were pulling 60 cents a mile. I saw the writing on the wall. And so it was time to start getting more heavy duty into my networking and dealing with direct shippers, and that's what saved us this year. If I did not have my dedicated accounts and my rates didn't change, it would have been brutal. But I agree with this gentleman over here. Recruiting is extremely difficult. We did lose people because my contractors had gotten used to COVID rates. They got complacent. I mean, when you're used to $5 a mile and you go down to $2 a mile, they're not willing to stick around, and they jump ship. And the market, you guys know, man, the market has its natural ebbs and flows. It goes up, it goes down. We're at the lowest part of the market right now. It will change. We just don't know when. No one has the proverbial crystal ball that knows what's going to happen next. And when you jump ship, it's like cashing in your stocks. You know, you lose everything you invested in. But
the Free Truck Division is Tin Truck Butterfly Express out of Silt, Colorado. Welcome to the stage, owner Bill Barheit and owner operators Lee Stone, James Leroy, J.D. Burton, and Michael McCarthy. Bill manages Butterfly Express with his wife Karen. It could be here tonight, and he's still managing apart from the driver's seat in their 2024 Volvo. They launched the company in 2013 after a long career not doing other things, but behind the wheel of various other roles. And they've steadily grown the business over the decades since. And if you ever need to know what it takes to build a trucking company headquartered in Colorado, in part with freight originating from some dedicated runs out of Miami, of all places, look no farther than Bill and Karen. Their core group of lease owner operators starting out hauled reefer freight solely via the spot market, yet in 2021, Bill began to transition freight sourcing from workability along dedicated lanes with in-demand, solid customers. Butterfly Express prides itself on the benefits it offers to its lease-owned contractors, which includes insurance and various taxes and fees paid by the carrier, the healthy percentage compensation package. One of those lease-owned, too, gave kudos to Bill Barheit for his work as a mentor in truck ownership, calling Bill a man willing to work with you and help you out as much as possible. And that's a godsend. I worked with other people where it wasn't even worth my time. Barheit's given the operator a lot of great advice, and I really appreciate that. Bill Barheit, Butterfly Express, James Leroy, J.D. Burton, and Michael Miller.
But the guys we got coming in now, what makes they're looking at this market is like, I don't know if they want to make that investment. But fortunately, we got all 9 trucks running, and people are happy, and we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, that's right, because you've got 10 trucks, but one of them, you and your wife Karen.
Yes, I technically has 10 trucks, but I have 9 owner-operators and us.
How is it trying to manage all those, help manage all those schedules from the seat of the truck? I got to ask that because Larry over here has 4 trucks, and he is not driving at all anymore, right? Pretty much.
No.
I'm lucky. My wife has her CDL, so when she's driving, I'm on the computer. Yes. Funny is this last month, until we were waiting for get the last truck filled in, my wife Karen decided it would be a good idea to go ahead and she would take one and I would take one and try to load them together at the same time, same places. Wow, that was really difficult. This market, trying to find 2 loads for the same place, going to the same place, right. Loading my truck, loading her truck, and trying to keep her behind me. And but we did it. And it saved it, but the business we have now, it's strong. We're doing okay. We have lots of reserves left over, and we're willing to. We have to take some money out of reserves to put it into the business. We will, but right now, so far, knock on wood, we haven't had to. Yes, I have seen the revenue reduction on the spot market, but not with our contracts. No, because my contracts don't cover everything. I still have to use spot market to move one truck from one area to another. And yeah, we've seen drastic drops in the rates. Actually, almost getting on the brokers like, seriously, dude, really? This is how you're gonna play it?
My challenges now is this driver recruiting.
Okay.
You know, finding people that doesn't want a tailor-made job. You know, they come in, they want to set their own hours, and they want to come in and tell you how to run your business and this and that. So that has been my challenge, honestly. This dealing with the recruiting process.
Okay. Yeah, because you put on a truck this year. Another one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Who did you end up hiring for that?
Well, I had I always wanted a female. I wanted to be a diverse company, so I hired a female, and she worked out for a while, but it came to a point where she was complaining and, making up stuff, and so that didn't work out.
East quarter, hailing from Henrico, Virginia, is Wallace Son Transport owner Larry Wallace. Third-generation driver with a versatile skill set, including a knack for working on old Detroit and Caterpillar engines. And he's got a sweet and savory little niche carved out hauling bulk bakery residuals and more, with now a total of 3 trucks in the fleet. Actually, that's not true, 4. He had one this year. The owner got his start pulling end-ups, then went straight off the deep end into land clearing and log hauling. Here Wallace had his trial by fire, hauling timber up and down mountain roads and becoming a master of his machine in the process. He traded a windshield and a shifter, though, for a desk and a computer a few years back with Wallace Sons. He keeps a close eye on operations and sales. Yet, he's still able to lead by example. Customers lauded his ability to step in and fill the gaps when needed. The bakery residuals work, it's mostly short hauls, fairly predictable. If the customer lauded Wallace for that same quality, he's, quote, responsive and manages his team well so that they can deliver on our needs. His name is just not in my mouth or in my email. When it's quiet, that's how you know it's going pretty well. Keeping quiet for the customer, steady, and working with the operators is a clear mentor. Larry Wallace, Wallace Son Transport.
But as far as the freight, I mean, we wrote rocking and rolling every day strong. I mean, so.
It's mostly for that one customer deal, right?
Yes, that's a 7-day gig, and it runs 7 days. The only time it's shut down is Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Right.
So.
And they're not slowing down.
No.
Unlike a lot of the other.
Nope, the pigs and the cows got to eat. So.
Yeah, sure. Good place to be.
Yes, and that job is a huge blessing. So, thankful for it.
We're busy. What was that, 2 weeks before we come down, I just went out and bought 5 more flatbeds. So,
okay.
And we're in the process of finishing 2 more trucks to put in the fleet, and I have 3 or 4 more behind that to finish. I need 5 more drivers yesterday, like now. And so what we're doing now is, if we can't find the good drivers that we need to fill the needs, we're going to reopen our brokerage and probably go with a couple of 1-horse guys that I know that have been asking, that they're struggling and slowing down. So I feel like we're going to step our game up with our brokerage and get a couple of these 1-horse guys I've known for 20 plus years that are struggling, and bring them on and hopefully help them out, stay alive. All our dedicated freight that we have is because of the service. Do it better than all your competition. And
yep.
That's always been our motto. That's what we've always tried to do. And with that being said, we've maybe not grown to 50, 60 or 100 or 150 trucks, like some of these guys have grown up to. But I really, truly believe that you get a big bang for the buck with us. We can offer better paying jobs for employees, better equipment. And then with that being said, our customers, we represent our customers better to their customers. So that's always been kind of our goal there.
And in the other corner, Wisconsin is flatbed fleet K&B Transport. Here represented by fourth generation truck driver and third generation owner managing the business, Adam Johnson, joined today by his wife, Kayla. So K&B Transport caught the judge's eyes this year with stories of Johnson & Company's creative thinking with flatbed LTL sorts, consolidating coils and big but fairly light loads of palletized foam insulation helped the company in 2012 to go from staring down the barrel of closing up shop to absolutely thriving when so many other fleets were just struggling to get by. Since that time, Johnson's assumed much more responsibility for management of operations at K&B, with his father still involved in some of the day-to-day dispatch. Over 4 years, K&B doubled in size to 12 trucks as at the end of 2022, adding more operators this year, even as freight volumes have suffered, as we all know. We spoke to one among their customers, a distributor of structural steel, headquartered not far from K&B, who lauded the company as absolutely integral to their operation and, quote, the perfect example of doing it right and doing it smart. They're awesome to work with. We have a problem, we need something run, boom, they're here, good to go. They have phenomenal equipment and great drivers, friendly, pleasant, knowledgeable. You can really depend on them and trust them. Adam and Kayla Johnson, K&B Transport.
I mean, we've had a few customers ask us to tighten things up a little bit for them, and we have. I mean, you have to, you got to be willing to give a little bit on the long-term side. I've watched companies try to strong arm their customers, and when it gets in tough times like that, and I find that you give a little bit on the tough times, it might hurt a little bit or might sting a little bit up front, but it's worth the long-term goal. You gotta take care of your customers. If you don't take care of your customers, they're not gonna take care of you. I mean, there's also got to be a happy medium. You can't give everything. You can't give the whole Christmas tree away either, and expect to be in business tomorrow either. So there's a happy medium. And then if you can't, explain to them why you can't. You know, we've had a few customers that wanted to tighten things up, and we lost one account this year. With a major fleet, not to talk names, but they came in and cut one of our dedicated accounts by $600 a load. And I told them, I said, we were at the point of raising the rates because they've kind of changed their loading system, and it went from a half hour, 45-minute load time to a 3 to 4 hour load time. And we never raised the rates on them for about a year dealing with this. And we were at the point now where it was like, we're going to have to charge them detention, really, do something. And then another company came in and cut us by $600 a load. And we had a meeting about it, and we let the account go. You have to be willing.
Let it go. Yeah.
Let it go. I mean, we were with them for over 20 years. And we've had it happen 2 other times with the account, and they've come back a month or 2 later, and we've got the account back just because of the service. And I truly believe that they are slow, in that we won't see the account or even see a call from them until things actually pick up. I mean, because they're covering things. It's where we shine is when we were doing plant transfers from one plant to another. So when plant 2 was running out of product, we were just in time delivery. We were same day delivery or next morning if we were loaded afternoon. And so we always kept their line going. Well, if they're slow now, they've got enough product, they can keep their lines going. So until they pick up, we probably won't get a call back from them, which is fine. I mean, you have to be willing to draw a line in the sand too.
Boards in this market is suicide. You gotta have your dedicated stuff. I mean, I'm running about 25% of our loads or load boards just to fill in the missing pieces. And there's nothing new here. These guys are smart, and I hand it to them. You can't. The guys who are running load boards right now, I don't even know how they're still in business. I really don't. Our
biggest issue that we have is trying to keep our quality as high as possible as far as employment, equipment, and everything else. It's a struggle in today's market. Our niche has always been quality over quantity. And as we grow, we need to have quality drivers and top-notch guys working for us, which we do. But that's always been an ongoing struggle. Going through interviews, we'll have interviews with 10 different drivers, and we might get one, maybe two good guys out of there that I consider up to our standards as far as running our equipment, cleanliness, dealing with our customers on a day-to-day basis. We kind of demand a high quality driver. So, I mean, we've really stepped up our game as far as in the last couple of years here is offering the insurance, the benefits. This year we're introducing paid time off. There's been talk about doing sign-on bonuses and some other things that we're still working on. I mean, our pay scale is higher than the average pay scale of all our competition in the area around here. So we just, with that being said, we do have I believe, offer a better paying job, but it is also a little bit more higher demanding because we expect more out of our guys too. So it's hard to find good quality guys out there. It really is.
Have you guys seen increases on your insurance premiums?
Oh, yes. Not maybe 5%. Not horribly.
Not a big jump.
Yeah, mine actually went down this year. I went with Great West. I don't know if you're 80.
Great West, yes.
Yeah, I went with Great West this year, and mine actually went down.
Okay.
With 2 additional trucks. So.
Good. That's excellent, right?
Yeah.
That must be just like a testament to the experience and just shopping it around.
Yeah.
It's also a possibility that his market and his commodity is way different than mine.
Right. Sure.
We're non-haz.
Yeah. I was
We're
gonna say
just
that.
tank, but non-haz.
Right. You pay a premium on insurance for that?
The my agent says I've got the cheapest insurance in the industry, but and I think this year we had a slight increase, but I think it was like less than 2 points.
Okay. Which
in all these years of being in business, I call it premium creep, but I've never seen year over year stay the same.
Right. It always goes up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Even if you don't add trucks.
Right.
You've done a fair amount of talk about recruiting, bringing on guys. And, you actually went out and you bought several trucks of your own.
I did.
And then looked for people that were ready to make the jump to kind of toward truck ownership.
It was an adapt or die.
Yeah.
It was that right after COVID. You couldn't find a truck to save your life.
Right.
But I had a good salesman who worked with me directly that got me trucks when no one else could. And do I regret it? Oh, absolutely, I regret it. Should have never bought those trucks. But if I hadn't, I wouldn't have 10 trucks right now. I'd only have 4.
Right. And
so
with that, you probably wouldn't be able to have the contracts.
I would not have the contracts I have now. Absolutely not. So it was an investment. Yes, I took a loss of some of the trucks because when I bought them, I bought a 2020 Volvo 860 for $140,000, and 3 months later it was worth $50,000. When the market crashed. 4 drivers we got were all by word of mouth.
Yeah, totally. It seems like usually the best way.
Yeah. And when the ones we get word by mouth, they're the ones who stay.
Yeah. How about you guys?
The recruiting is a difficult item for us. We can get people to show up and fill out all the paperwork, and you think they're getting ready to get in a truck,
Right.
and then they'll send you an email in the middle of the night saying I can't take the job.
Oh my God.
That happens all the time. Yes. It's crazy. I said, no, why would you go through the whole process just to send a text message? Couldn't even call. Send a text message. You 100% right about that one. I've experienced that.
Time consuming, man.
Yeah.
I don't get it. If you don't want the job, I'm not personally involved in this. I just got a job. If you want it, fine. If you don't, I'm fine with that too. I'm not going to be upset one way or the other. I know I've got a good opportunity for you if you want to do it, but
I'd appreciate it if you would tell me before we go all the way down this road.
But the more times I go through that, the better I get at delivery. So, it's practice for me, I guess.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So.
Yeah, trying to become a people reader, like you're trying to, when you're interviewing, it's like, okay, this is going to be a great guy. He's going to be a great addition. And then it turns out, oh my gosh, what a mistake that was.
Yeah.
And then you bring in someone who think, there's no way this guy's going to make it. He turns out to be your best guy. There's.
And then another thing, I know personally, I got one guy that been for 3 years. He's my foreman. He's the one to deal with my other drivers, because I find it easier for me to deal with one person than I had to deal with different personalities and things of that nature. But
maybe he's got a pretty good talent for that. It sounds like.
Yeah, I would say he's more of a people person, and like I say, I try to use my drivers, play them to their strengths, and he's a talker.
Yep.
I'm not a big talker. I know how to give a person what we need to do, and and things like
your
that.
work is local, right? So your drivers are probably working with each other and around each other a lot more than
Absolutely.
you guys. Because
my guys, the only time they see one another is when they're at the shop.
if they happen to be there at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I have two trucks following each other all day. Stuff like that.
One that knows how to get there and the other knows how to get home.
Like if it's a new hire, Steve, he does all my training and stuff.
Even in the last month or two, we've kind of revamped a lot of our training procedures, policies. I mean, we are willing to hire guys more without the experience and train them. There's downsides and positives to that. I mean, hiring a guy with a bunch of flatbed experience, it's great on one hand that you can put him in the seat and get him going, but then you got to break bad habits. That being said is, we're not a big fleet that here, this is how we do it. And there's really no one there to kind of hold them accountable. We want things done a certain way here, and we probably go a little bit over and above for our safety and our guys' safety. I don't tolerate people being dangerous as far as when it comes to chaining loads down, strapping loads down. Our biggest thing is get the most for your one step. When I say when you go around the trailer, so think about your process, think about your system, and pretty much no matter what load you're hauling, get a system into play. This is how I walk around the truck, or this is how I bring the chains out. Get repetitive. And when it's the same system that you have, and it's the same check system when you're done, the final walk around of the truck. But we've kind of really stepped that game up here this year. And then as far as the training process, I've got 2 trainers now that literally will run with a guy for, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month and a half if he has to. There's really no set time on the training process anymore. It's until we feel comfortable that they can do it and do it confidently,
Just follow him. Yeah.
What a great job you doing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. I tell you, it's a big change from when I was over the road running those dry vans. And I was listening to your story about the truck you bought for $140. I went on board 2 dry vans for $50,000 a piece, and the next week this company Atro was selling for $30.
Oh man!
And it's and so then you lose in this stuff.
It sucks, man.
At the height of COVID, right?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't find a dry van when COVID was around. I mean, dry van was one of the most scarce trailers out there. And I was lucky. I had bought one right before COVID and paid the regular price for it. But then I had a trailer to break on me, break in half. Never happened before.
Really?
It happened. It broke in half.
Oh no.
Yeah, it broke in half. So replaced that one, got another one, and was charged double for what I paid for the brand new trail I bought prior to COVID.
It's the same way for us. Right before
Crazy.
COVID, I paid $78,000 for a brand new refurb,
Yeah.
and then literally 4 months later, they were wanting $130,000, $140,000 for them,
Yeah.
and couldn't get 1 cent. Now you can get them cheap.
Yeah. the new trailers I bought, I haven't put a load in them yet. They've been sitting in the yard.
Oh,
Haven't used them. Because right when the bottom fell out everything, I changed my lanes immediately.
That's the key. Adapt.
I changed and I started pulling dump trailers, hauling the bulk. And then I keep saying it's God, man, because it was such perfect timing. As the spot loads was going down, and the same load I would get $1,700 for, they wanted to pay you $500.
Right.
I was just getting stressed out, and I got a phone call, and that's when I picked up that dedicated contract, hauling the animal waste.
Right.
And I mean, everything was just falling in place. I mean,
Being available, being able to pivot, the
yes.
resources to do so. Right?
But you know the thing, and like I said, I give a lot of credit to God. But up until that point of everything transitioning from the bottom falling out, because I was strictly pulling dry vans, nothing else. And every day I'm in my truck riding. I'm going to this place, that place, meeting people, giving out my business cards, and it worked.
Paid off, right?
It worked.
Every one of these gentlemen at this table knows how to adapt or die.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of carriers go out of business because they refuse to change their business model.
Right.
I admire the hell out of you, man.
Thank you, man.
Dropping the vans and going with this other stuff to keep yourself going. That was awesome. Phenomenal job.
Thank you, man.
And you've got the vans still.
Still got them.
So you can do something with those.
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm watching it. I'm watching the industry. And as soon as everything get back to where it was, if it get back there, then I'm gonna get a couple more units.
So
You can read more about all of our finalists and the winners, Butterfly Express in the 3 to 10 truck division and LNL trucking in 11 to 30 trucks at overdriveonline.com/small-fleet-champ. There you'll also find profiles of the rest of a 10 total semi-finalist field this year. All worthy businesses doing a whole lot right to not only survive year after year, but thrive and grow just like the 4 we heard from here. There's a big thanks to Nastic for hosting us again this year, and to every small fleet owner out there making it happen week after week after week. Hats off to you. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other support of trucker-songwriter Long Haul Paul Marhofer. The theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhofer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, the Snake Man himself, Whammick, Terry Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tishomingo Jim Whitehead, and on drums, Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's own news editor Matt Cole, executive editor Alex Lockie, and video editors Lawson Rudisill and Andrew Gwynn. See you next time.